Now, joining me on the big interview this week is the X Factor winner from 2013. She's also currently on tour in a show called Fat Friends. She's here in Belfast today. It's Sam Bailey. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great, welcome to Belfast. But of course, you've been here before many times, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I came here with the X Factor tour in 2014, and I've been here with my family, and I've been to the Titanic exhibition and the museum and that. So, yeah, I've been here quite a few times and visited Ireland quite a lot with, you know, touring with bands and stuff. So yeah, I love it here. Everyone's happy. Why is that? Why is everyone happy here? Is there something in the water or something? I don't know.
There is this week because there's so much going on here.
I know,
there's so many shows in town and big events and stuff going on.
Yeah, well obviously we're in town, so what can I say?
So you're on tour throughout the UK with Fat Friends.
Yeah.
Everybody will remember the TV series, which was great. This looks like lots of fun.
It is. The show is fantastic. The cast are great. You know, we've really got a great cast. This is a brand new show, and never in a million years would anyone think that a brand new show would get such a big audience. You know, because people like to go and see things that they've seen or they've heard of, or there's been a movie of it or an adaptation to it. You know, but this is brand new. Brand spanking new, and we've literally had the best response ever. So it's doing so well, and it's fun to do. It's a really good show to do, you know.
It's one of those shows that anybody who's ever been to one of those slimming clubs can kind of relate to, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Like by the time people leave, and we've spoken to people after the show, they've actually named every character as somebody they know. Like the guy that played Alan, that's my friend David. Oh my God, he's so Alan. And then that person is this person, and everyone has a relatability to what we're doing and what we're trying to get out there, you know. And it's really funny, and it's got some really nice moments in it as well. So there's some real tear-jerking moments, there's some funny laugh off your seat, wet your pants kind of stuff. So it's a really, really good show to be in.
Now you're playing the part that Alison Steadman played in the TV series.
Yeah. So I'm playing the role of Betty. Betty's 46, which, I mean, obviously I know I look young. So obviously I don't put any makeup on, which makes me look a little bit older, and I dress in, you know, older clothes and more mature clothes, should I say. And Kelly, Jodie Prenger plays my daughter. Now we're very similar in age, like there's only a few years between us, but she plays it really well. She's very clever at that, so it is kind of believable, you know, that the whole stage thing with all of the cast and everyone together, everyone comes away from it, you know, feeling they've got something from the show. So yeah, it's good. It's a great show.
And you've got Curly from Coronation Street in the show, Kevin Kennedy, haven't you?
Playing my husband, yes. Playing the hubster, yes. If someone had said to me like 20 odd years ago, like, you know, my mum and dad sat down watching Coronation Street and Curly Watson said, yeah, one day you're going to play alongside him, I'd have said, no, that's never going to happen. I don't think I could repeat now what I would probably say, but he's brilliant. He's like having a big brother to work with. He's brilliant. He knows his stuff. We're like the best of friends, and we're quite close. And I've learnt so much from him as well. You know, he's been in the business a long time, and I listen to him, and we work really well together. We're a great team.
Wow. So what's life on the road like? You were saying there's lots of practical jokes and stuff that go on backstage.
I don't know what you mean. So there's certain bits in the show where, like, you know, there's practical jokes, and you know that no one in the audience would absolutely have a clue what's going on. But you know, it's a great show to be in, where you know you can have a little bit of a snigger and a bit of a laugh sometimes. And we've been on stage, you know, in the middle of a show where you get someone in the audience that's got a really loud laugh that stands out so much from everybody else, but then laughs, almost gets the jokes like 5 seconds after everybody else has finished laughing, and then it kind of throws you a little bit, especially if they've got a really big laugh, and then that carries on into the show, and that's it. And it's by the end of it, we're giving them a massive applause at the end, because they've been a part of the show, if you will. But practical joke wise, you know, we do have such a giggle on stage. I came on stage the other day, and I wear Zumba clothes for the scene before, and I've got these bright purple, pink, luminous leggings on, and then the scene after is a hen night scene, so I'm wearing a black skirt, black top, black ears, black shoes, completely. But we're backstage and we're getting changed, and someone started talking to me, and I've got changed, and then I've gone and stood in the wings, and then gone on stage, and we're doing the scene, and then I sat down next to someone, and they went, "Sam, why have you got your leggings on still?" And I looked down, and underneath the skirt was just down to my ankles was these luminous pair of leggings that I'd forgotten to take off. And I wondered why my legs were really snug and warm whilst I was sat down in the chair, and nobody could. It was so difficult for everybody to keep a straight face, and I just sat there, just trying so hard not to get into the moment of the scene. But at the same time, everybody, because the focus was just pulled onto what I was wearing. And obviously people in the audience knew that I was wearing them from the scene before. And it was just trying hard to hold it together, because I've got these stupid leggings on underneath my black skirt, which, it keeps you going sometimes, if you're doing a 2-show day as well. And it is very tiring, because the show's full on. It's not a sit back, relax kind of show. It is full on. There's so much in it. There's so much dialogue to take in. There's so many songs. There's so much dancing. So sometimes things like that just keeps you going that little bit longer and gives you a little bit more battery life,
Let's talk X Factor, because somebody said to me earlier on today, when was it that Sam won X Factor? And I said, it's got to be a couple of years ago, maybe 3. It was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2013, so it would be 5 years this coming Christmas.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago. It's gone really quick. It really has. And they say time flies when you're having fun. And, I've had a lot of fun over the last 4.5 years. So, I've got 3 beautiful children, 2 dogs. Oh, God help me. I've just had a call from my husband today saying, those lovely new trainers that you bought for Miley? Oh, well, one of the dogs has eaten one of them. So I'm like, my life right now.
And Miley was born just after the success of the X Factor as well,
she was born in 2014, yeah. So, she's my little X Factor baby. That's what I call her. So. Oh, wow. She's my X Factor baby. She was named after Michael Bolton.
Really?
Yeah. Ah. So her name's Miley, middle name's Bo. Right, yes. And I couldn't name her Michael, obviously, or Mickey, and Craig wouldn't have that. But I said that I wanted, whenever Michael goes on Twitter, he always signs it MB at the end of it. And I decided to have her Miley Bo, so she's initials are MB. So because he was such an inspiration to me and a help for them. I was only chatting to him yesterday. Let me just pick up that name that just dropped on the floor. I was chatting, and Lewis Hamilton. Let me just pick that name up as well. I'm just picking that one up.
So who's the most famous person who's in your phone?
I have actually got Ed Sheeran's phone number, or what I think is Ed Sheeran's phone number. Yeah, but I've never rang it. I've never texted it. I've never rang it. Because I think that whoever's phone number is probably like the postman of Ed Sheeran or something, and it's probably not him. So I've never rang it. I don't know.
Maybe you could test it.
No, I definitely don't want to test it right now. No, and then I've got Lewis Hamilton. I spoke to him yesterday. Obviously, he was obviously with Nicole, and Nicole was on the show the year I was on it. Yeah. And we've remained in contact and stuff, and he's said that we can go down to a track day and visit their team headquarters. So my husband's a bit of a Formula One fan, so I'm trying to arrange this at the moment. So he won't watch this show, so I can tell you this, but don't tell him if you see him. Don't tell him. Okay. Don't put it on Twitter.
So before X Factor came along, you'd done lots of singing and stuff before, and you'd lots of chances that you could have made it before X Factor, but they never quite happened. So I suppose when you went into X Factor, you never expected to win the series.
No. If anything, I mean, I used to sing in social clubs, and there'd be a poster up on the wall, and it would say Lisa Lee, and then in brackets, performing tonight as there's Lisa Lee, and then in brackets it would say as seen on X Factor, when she got 2 minutes, or not even 2 minutes, like you could see her in the queue or something, like you get 10 seconds of her singing or something. But because she's got as seen on X Factor in brackets, she's getting an extra 50 quid than what I'd get if I went in there. And I thought, you know what, if I do the X Factor and I go on and I get seen for like you blink if you miss me, I'll get as seen as on X Factor, and I'll get an extra 50 quid, which means that I'll be getting closer to needing the money for my extension, because I wanted an extension on my house. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on and then get my 5 minutes of fame, a little bit of free advertising, and then use that when I go out gigging, get a bit more money, and then put the money towards my extension. So that was the general plan. Never in a million years would I think I'd win it. So I did. I now got my nice extension, and we've been on some pretty pucker holidays. So
you didn't upgrade to the big house like everybody else did. You just put an extension on.
Yeah, I love where I live. I don't, I live in quite a modest semi-detached house in a little cul-de-sac, and I still live there now. And the thing is, I had Keith Lemon come to do Through the Keyhole at my house, and he took the mick a little bit, because when he came round, he'd done everywhere in 5 minutes, and he was like, "Is that it?" I was like, well, I wish he'd gone back now. And I've messaged him a couple of times, just do Through the Keyhole again at my house. I said, you won't recognise it. But yeah, it's paid for my extension. So thank you very much, Simon Cowell. So it's been amazing. I've enjoyed it.
And of course, on the show, Sharon was amazing to you, wasn't she? She was your mentor,
obviously. Yeah, she was brilliant, yeah. I mean, having her as a mentor was brilliant, and I was really lucky because, well, not for the other guys, but Shelley and Lorna, that was in the overs as well, they were both voted off the first 2 weeks. So it was just me for like the rest of the time. So I had it all to myself. But she was flying home because Jack wasn't very well, so she was flying home quite a lot, and she was on a TV show called The Talk out there. So which didn't bother me, because it just left me to get on with it. I was old enough and ugly enough to I didn't need someone to hold me hand, so some of the younger ones needed that mentor, needed that guidance. I just, give me a song, right, okay, in my room, learn it, come out, learn it, have some lunch, have some dinner, go on TV, do what I've got to do, go back up next week, give me a song, go back up and learn it. I was quite happy to just get through every week. I was away from my family, I was away from my kids, and I just wanted to knuckle down every week and get through each week. That was the general plan for me. So.
And Sharon's also Miley's godmother as well.
She is, yeah. She sent us some pretty nice stuff. I've not seen her in a while, but we're out in LA in July, so hopefully we're going to catch up then. But I've got a couple of work gigs out there, so charity gigs, and I'm doing a bit of writing, and we're taking the kids to Vegas to see where me and the hubby got married as well. So it'd be a nice little road trip.
And how did you do it in Vegas? Did you do the Elvis wedding? Or?
No, we had an internet wedding, because my whole fact, this is another thing I know my family won't see, but like to get all my family together, it would be like 20 episodes of the Jeremy Kyle show. So it was like, I just wanted a chilling out night. I didn't want anyone moaning. I didn't want any arguing. I just wanted to have a nice wedding with just me and the hubby. And we had an internet wedding, so nobody was there, but they was all at home with a bottle of plonk, watching it via the internet, and it was great. And then we come home and we had a big party afterwards, which was fantastic. So yeah, I know I joke about it, I don't mean it, but yeah, I do. No, I don't. Yeah, I do.
So we all remember your story before X Factor as well. You were working in a prison, weren't you? It must have been tough.
It was tough, because you can't be judgmental when you go into work, and you have to be quite sort of open-minded when you go and work in a prison. And when you first walk in, it is a bit daunting, but then after a while, when you're working with people and you're seeing people change, not all of them, some of them are just in there and just being naughty and causing capers, but there are some people that generally do want to change and want to become better people. They're always going to have that hanging over them, what they've done. It's always going to be on their records, but they want to change. And I come across quite a lot of prisoners that had families and had children, and the children shouldn't be punished, so we'd organise like family days for families to come in and spend a bit of time with their daddies, because it's so important for their children to see their fathers. And some people might not agree with that, but the children haven't got the life sentence. It's the father that has the life sentence. So we would organise like a family day for the children to come in and spend a couple of hours playing with their children, and it really benefits them. So it was kind of pat on the back moments for me, and I've seen some stuff that is pretty horrific, but I miss it.
Really?
I do miss it. I miss the people I work with, and I miss seeing people change. But it's tough being a prison officer now, and I know so many people that work in the prison service that have said to me it's a really tough place to work, and I hold my hat off to them that, you know, they're actually still doing it. And you know, and I think they should be recognised for being prison officers. There's so many documentaries out there that are just, you know, recognising all the people inside the jails that are causing problems, like prisoners rioting and drugs and stuff like that. Why not do a documentary recognising...
Yeah, about suicides and stuff these days as well, aren't you?
And that, you know, a lot of officers that just can't deal with the work, and that they, you know, they commit suicide, or they deal with a lot of stuff. And I think that the job itself as a prison officer should be looked at in a documentary, and kind of so that people can see the hard work that it is to be an officer. It's not just a bald, stocky bloke swinging a set of keys, which is what you always see on the TV and in, you know. So
when you watch programs, say like Bad Girls from the 90s or whatever, that's not real. That's not real prison.
I'd have to say probably not. There's a lot of researchers that have obviously done research for the protocol in prisons, but you know, the prison, especially the prison that I worked at, you know, the people that work there, they've all been trained like to deal with situations, and it's not your strength, it's not how you hold yourself, it's that gets you around and gets you respect in jail, and gets that rapport between a prisoner and an officer, and it's an art form, and that there are some amazing officers out there, but they don't get enough credit. Whenever you see these documentaries, you see them more being about what people want to see, and I get that people want to see drama and they want to see all this in jail that goes on. Oh, there's a couple of prisoners fighting and stuff, but why not see what the officers do, because they do some amazing work, and it never gets recognised, and it's upsetting to see sometimes, because I was nowhere near the best officer, let me just point this out, you know, but I know people that were the best at the best, and I think it should be recognised.
And you'd be the perfect person to do that documentary.
I'd love to do it. It would be great to do it, you know, and but it's a hard place to get into at the moment because of stuff that's going on within jails and short staff and stuff. It's a really hard place to be at the moment, so documentaries are not the best time to do it, but yeah, maybe in the future.
Now, I've read your book, and I know you didn't have the best time growing up. You had a pretty tough time. I suppose that's probably what helped you become better towards the prisoners and stuff, and being a better prison guard, wasn't it? Yeah,
and there's a lot of people that are in prison that are in there for all sorts of things, broken homes, you know, they've grew up not with the right sort of background, and I'd have to say, if when I was younger, you know, if I hadn't made the choices that I had, I probably would have been in trouble quite a lot. You know, we come from a rough council estate as a kid. In fact, it was one of the top 5 roughest council estates voted as the the Sun newspaper. So, you know, and it was a tough place to be growing up. And, you know, my mum and dad used to drink. And so for me to see all of that as a kid, you know, the only escape I had was to go out with my mates and cause havoc, as you will when you was a kid, climbing trees and playing knock door run and stuff like that and all sorts. But you know, when you meet up with prisoners and you're having a one-to-one conversation, which is a lot of time I had to do, and you're talking to them about their childhood, and we would talk to them about, you know, things that, you know, points in their life where they could have changed or become a different person, and the paths that they could have took. And it's amazing how some of it's similar to mine, you know, when you're talking to people, and it's just choices people make. And you know, these people that have made the wrong choices want to start making the right choices, which is why it's very interesting to see and talk to prisoners about the choices that they made, you know, and then try and get them to recognise where they made their bad choices, not necessarily the bad choices they made when they murdered somebody, but the choices they made before that. You know, there could have been a path that they'd gone to, so it's for them to maybe sit down and think about the choices they make in the future.
So how did you discover music? How did music start for you? My
dad was a drummer.
Right.
He was a musician. My granddad was a singer. So it was kind of in the family. My nan was a honky-tonk pianist down the Old Kent Road.
Brilliant.
She used to sing and play the piano in the bars down the Old Kent Road. So I had quite a lot of musical background, but my dad mainly. My brothers had to share a bedroom because he had a 48-piece drum kit in one of the bedrooms, and they had to share because of that, and he would put loads of musical instruments in there, and just we'd come home from school, drop our bags, and then we'd go straight upstairs and play on the kits and play on the drums and play on the piano and play on the guitars, and all goes, you know, the neighbours absolutely loved us. They'd bang on the windows in time with the music. It was just like, you know, bang. It was like, you know, they enjoyed it that much. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Who were you listening to back then? Who were the big influences?
For me, I mean, I listened to my dad's music when I was growing up. I listened to Don Henley, Supertramp, Sting, Queen, Phil Collins. That was, for me, that was, you know, all I remember as a kid. I wasn't massively into music. I wanted to be a footballer when I was younger, so I played quite a lot of professional football from an early age. But yeah, I was into sport. I ran for England when I was 14.
Wow.
I played football for Millwall, Charlton, QPR, Crystal Palace, West Ham, London Women, and Leicester City in throughout the years. But you know, singing was never on my top agenda really, and then it all came about when I was like 15 or 16. So I like I said, choices, different paths that you could take. Where would I be now if I'd have gone to that trial for Arsenal when I was like, you know, what, 19 years of age?
Yeah. So of course X Factor came along, then of course on the back of X Factor you end up at the Christmas #1. That must have been amazing.
I know. I'll always be a quiz question.
Yeah.
If all else fails and I end up working back in an old job, I'll always be a quiz question. That's all I've got. I've got a mug saying I was Christmas #1, and I'll be a quiz question.
So Christmas #1, best-selling album, and then on tour with Beyonce.
I know, yeah. That was a great thing, but like, everyone says, how was she? And I was like, I never met her.
Right, yeah.
You know, I like to have memories of things. I wasn't really particularly bothered about meeting her, but I would have liked to have had a signed T-shirt or something so I could frame it, but I didn't get anything. In fact, I was put in, my dressing room was like a Porto cabin outside at the arena, but it was in like where all the trucks park. It was freezing cold. I had my name on a piece of A4 paper. I was like, oh great, this is delightful. But you know, I had fun. You know, I can, as well as that, I can always say that I went on tour with Beyonce. I didn't see her, but I got to see a show afterwards, which was great. You know, the kids were there, and my daughter was loving it, and my son was just sat on his iPad playing games on his iPad for the whole time she was on stage, like literally a metre away from me. He's like that. I was like, that's brilliant.
So would you love a big TV role? A big acting job on TV?
Yeah. I like comedy acting.
Yeah.
I feel like comedy acting is something that I really want to get into. Serious acting and all that lovey-dovey acting, probably not.
What about if a part in EastEnders came along?
Yeah, I'd be up for that. I could be someone from the Slater family. I can, you know, my accent's really changed. I used to have a proper London accent, you know, like proper Danny Dyer kind of accent, and it's really changed from moving to Leicester. And in this show that I'm in now, I have to have a northern accent, so I have to have like a Leeds accent.
Oh, you could do Emmerdale then. I
could do Emmerdale, could do Corrie.
You've done a film, haven't you?
I've done some music for a movie, so I got approached by this guy called Michael Damian, who was a massive actor in The Young and the Restless in America.
Right, yeah. And
he's directed a movie called Strung, and it was a Netflix hit. It's kind of step up for me. I've not actually seen the first one, but it's a dance movie, so it's a bit centre stage meets step up kind of thing. But it's got music in it and musicians in it, and it's great, and it's a beautiful ballet piece as well. The girl dancers in that are incredible. And I got approached and asked if I would like to record a song for the soundtrack that's going to be in the movie. And I was like, let me think about that for a second. Yeah. So I recorded the song, and it's coming out in the summer. So, and I actually got the song a couple of days ago. So I've been having a bit of a listen to it, and it's going to be great. I'm really excited.
So what about your own music career? Is there plans for another album or something?
I'm writing. So, like I said, I'm going out to LA in July and working with Steve Dorff again. Who I did some stuff on my last album with. You know, that last album was done completely solely by myself. I set up my own record label, released it myself, and it got in the top 20 of the charts, the UK charts. So proud of that.
And is it a nicer way to work, not having the kind of big machine telling you what to do all the time, if you're totally in control?
Yeah, kind of one of the reasons I want to do it, one is they didn't want to sign me again, which I was absolutely fine with, because although it was great being with a record label and they did look after me, I had a deadline to get the album out, and I was pregnant with Miley, and I got in the car to drive down to the studios in London, and I got as far as Watford and went into labour at 28 weeks.
Right.
So I had to drive back up home, go into hospital there to stop my labour, and then went down again. Same thing happened, got as far as Watford and waters broke again, not waters broke, like I went into labour, went back up again. I was like, no, I can't do this. So they ended up bringing a studio to me like a few weeks later, about 6 or 7 weeks later, organised me to do it up there. And I was heavily pregnant. I think I was like 39 weeks or something. And I was in a studio recording the last bits for the album. Finished them that night, went home, my waters broke that evening, had Miley the next day. And I was like, I can't work like this, you know, I don't want to work like this.
Yeah.
And that was when I made the decision to do it all myself, and hence when I did Chicago, all the money and blood, sweat and tears went into me creating this album and writing. I was writing with Ben Adams from A1.
Right, yeah.
We wrote 7 of the tracks on the album, and 4 were done by Steve Dorff. So it was a great album, absolutely loved it. And then and here I am again, you know, back to square one. I've written some lyrics. I'm going out in July to put some music to them and spend a bit of time with the family. There's no rush. I'm not in a major rush.
Yeah.
But if a record label came up to me and said, you know, we want to do a covers album of musical theatre, I'd be quite happy to do that. That's not something that I want to fund myself, but if a record label wanted to do that, then I would do it.
So what about the rest of the year then, when you get back from LA, you spent time with the family, what's next for you?
Well, I've got loads of I've got a little mini tour that I'm doing. I've got a tiny mini tour, which is going to be great. And then I'm back over in Ireland next year, beginning of next year, in a show called Vampires Rock.
Oh wow!
Which is a kind of music rock show. You know, they've done arenas with this show, and I'm going to be in that, playing the Queen. And and we're coming over to Ireland. I'm not sure of the dates, but it's coming over to Ireland, so that's going to be pretty good. I think there's like 30 odd dates of that at the beginning of next year. But I'm doing Panto at Christmas in my local hometown of Leicester. Which means I get to tuck the kids in bed at 8 o'clock every night, which is perfect for me. And just loads of little gigs here and there. So I'm off to Marbella 4 or 5 times, performing over there. Ibiza in August. So I've got quite a few things lined up. But it's going to be nice to do like a couple of gigs a week and be at home with the kids, because my youngest has really struggled. In fact, they all have. They've really struggled with me being away and being home on just a Sunday. So it'd be nice to get home and spend a bit of time with the family.
And are any of the kids showing signs of being musical? Or?
Yes, my eldest.
Yeah.
My eldest is, in fact, it's her 13th birthday on Friday, and I know she definitely won't watch this show. But I've bought her a tap board. She's into dancing. She's got a show next month that we're going to see. And we're setting up a studio for her in the house. Because she loves to play music, make music, and she can sing a bit as well, but I'm not getting involved. I'm taking a major step back because no one taught me how to sing, and as soon as I start to go in and start teaching her stuff, unless she asks me, I'm not going to give her any guidance. I'm just going to let her get on with it herself. Because I feel that, you know, that's how I went. I didn't have anyone pushing me, no one telling me how to do things, and I found my own way, and I think she will as well.
And if she comes to you one day and says, I'm going to do one of those reality shows, I might do X Factor, what would you say to her?
I'd say go for it. If it gets you 5 minutes of fame and 50 quid extra at a gig and a social club, then I'm all for it. I mean, she can buy me some nice things. I'm buying her loads of nice things. She'll thank me one day.
Sam, it has been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And next time you're in Belfast, come back and see us again, please.
I will do, yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Cheers, babe. Thank you.